From the ceremonial chin wigs of living kings to the divine face hair of gods, and even the rare case of a queen who wore one to rule, we're digging into the what, why, and how behind the ancient false beard. To start with, most ancient Egyptians, especially royalty, were clean-shaven. In a land of dust, sweat, and ritual purity, hair was considered a nuisance. But here's the twist. Pharaohs were almost always shown with a long braided beard, and that beard was completely fake. The ceremonial beard, called a postiche, was often made from braided human hair, sheep's wool, or even metal wire. It was tied to the face with linen or leather straps, and only worn during important moments, rituals, state ceremonies, and public appearances. This wasn't just a quirky tradition, it was a statement, a symbol. A pharaoh didn't need a real beard. He or she needed a divine one. To the ancient Egyptians, the beard wasn't just facial hair, it was sacred. The style of the false beard mimicked that of the god Osiris, the ruler of the underworld and the god of rebirth. He was depicted with a long braided beard that curved at the end. That curl, it meant godhood. When a pharaoh wore the postiche, it wasn't for vanity. It was to signal their status as a living god on earth. It told the people that this ruler wasn't just a king. He was divine, immortal, chosen by the gods to lead. Square beards were worn by living pharaohs. Curved ones were reserved for deities, and for the pharaoh in death when he joined the gods. This beard was more than a prop. It was a claim to heaven's authority. Nowhere does the symbolism of the false beard become more fascinating or more politically charged than with Pharaoh Hatshepsut. Hatshepsut ruled in the 15th century BCE and is often regarded as Egypt's first great female pharaoh. But here's what makes her story unusual. She didn't just call herself king. She looked the part. She wore the crown, the royal kilt, and yes, the false beard. Statues and carvings show her in full male regalia, beard and all. Why? Because kingship, in the Egyptian worldview, was a divine and masculine role. To rule, she had to embody it. Whether this was a calculated political move or a genuine transformation in identity is still debated. But one thing is clear. Hatshepsut knew that wearing the beard meant wielding power, and it worked. She ruled for over 2 decades and brought Egypt into a golden age. In temples and tombs, she immortalized herself as a bearded pharaoh, and no one dared challenge her authority. The typical postiche was crafted from braided hair, either human or animal, or stiffened fabric. For royalty, the materials could be luxurious. Some ceremonial beards were overlaid with gold leaf, decorated with semi-precious stones like lapis lazuli or turquoise, and even sculpted from metal. The beard was tied behind the ears or wrapped around the head. Think of it like a chin-strap crown. It wasn't designed for comfort. It was a burden of power. It was rarely worn casually. Most pharaohs only donned the beard for key events, rituals, or when depicted in official statuary. But its presence always shouted the same message: I am more than mortal. In death, the false beard took on its most powerful meaning. The golden burial mask of Tutankhamun, perhaps the most iconic artifact of ancient Egypt, features a long, curved beard made of gold and lapis. It doesn't just honor his kingship, it connects him to Osiris. It declares, this boy king has become divine. Tombs of elite individuals sometimes included small funerary masks with beards, hoping to borrow a sliver of that same godly transformation. The beard was more than symbolic. It was mystical. It was your ticket to eternity. To be buried without it was to risk being forgotten. To wear it was to rise again among the stars. Next time you see a statue with a chin strap and a braided beard, don't laugh. That little tuft of hair meant the difference between being immortal and becoming eternal.